Hello, welcome back to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name's Ozzie and I'm here with my co-host Sid. How's it going, Sid?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you, not bad. Before we start, I just want to say to all our followers, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And please share these videos to your friends and family as well, as we're a new channel, so we're trying to grow. So recently we've started our own fantasy football league. So how did your team do in match week 1, Sid?
I think I've got number one spot. So no, I'm joking. I'm 40th out of 57. So
Yeah,
a lot to do, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's
long way to go, isn't it? But yeah, I think I'm 17th in the league, I think. But one of our participants named Edgar, he's top with 94 points. He made Salah triple captain, so that was a good move on his part, to be honest with you. But yeah, well done to him. Let's see how the league continues.
good showing. Good showing.
So back
Man.
to sorry.
No, I'm saying good showing. Well done to him.
Yeah, really good start for him. You know, I think he's got like a 50-point gap with the guy that's in second place. So
It's like United back in the day, isn't it? Just
yeah, exactly. So he's doing really well. So let's talk about match week 1. To be honest, we'll have a different kind of overview in terms of this week. We'll choose our top 5 players that made an impression on us, whether it's good or bad. So why don't you start, Sid? Who stood up for you during match week 1?
I think for me it was well, my top one I would say is James Rodriguez,
Yeah,
and I think this is something that the top clubs have missed out on because I
interesting.
think the fact that he has been loaned out quite a few times, a lot of people, saw that as his quality has gone and all of that. But I think the way I wouldn't say dominated, but I think he created 5 chances in that game.
Yeah,
And even when he didn't have the ball, his vision and the spaces he creates to get
yeah,
himself in good positions is, well, for the Premiership, it's unheard of. And I think because we don't really allow too many players a lot of time in the Premiership, and the way he's able to just think here and there, I think it's good. And I think he's going to be one of the buys of the season. I know it's only the first game, but I'm really confident that James will be lighting up the assist sheets quite soon.
yeah,
So Tottenham, Everton could be in a good shout for top 6, I would say, minimum.
yeah.
But 2 other players play for the same team. Got Willian and Gabriel.
Yes.
I think it was a short assurance performance by Gabriel. I wouldn't say dominant, but he settled in quite nicely in that team, and he gave a few assurances to the back line. But also, I would say that I think one thing that Arsenal missed last season was that dominant figure at the back. Of course, it's yet to be seen if that is the case. But from what I saw, he has got the potential, and he's young as well. So I think that's positive things for Arsenal. Then you got Willian again. I think it's because of his age, where a lot of people weren't really keen or pushing for that type of player.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, he wanted to stay in London, so this worked out really well for him.
Yeah.
But I think he got 3 assists, isn't it,
Yeah.
in that game?
Yeah.
So I think well done to him. And yeah, Arsenal, I think following on from what I said previously, I think they could get top 4, like a surprise package for this season. Another one that I didn't really think was for good. It was a good mention, but Rodri for Leeds.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Leeds were in a good position, holding out 3-3 with the defending champions. And then I think that's a bit. You should be doing everything you can to avoid those type of things, especially so late on.
Yeah.
especially
Well, that was a
when
typical striker's tackle, wasn't it?
yeah, and you can't really fault him, but then you can also think, coming like the way this match is going, Liverpool are always going to be pressing. So the worst thing you can do is give them such an opportunity like that. When you've got Mane on the pitch, you've got Salah, everyone, Firmino, if he wants to take a penalty, any one of those could have stepped up and taken it and scored. So, it was disappointing. And me as a fan, put aside my love for Liverpool, but I was just like,
A lot
come
for
on,
Liverpool, yeah.
man. Yeah, bona fide. But I
You
was,
convert him, guys. He's an LFC fan now.
yeah, God forbid, God forbid, yuck.
Oof.
No, but yeah, I was quite disappointed, and I think that in the sense that when you do so well, to come from 3-0 down effectively, well not 3-0, but you equalise 3 times,
Yeah.
like yeah, I wish and expected more, but yeah, Rodri, he's probably going to shoot himself in the foot because he's probably thinking, oh yeah, I wish I didn't do that, especially on his home debut as well.
Mm.
But yeah, he's another one. Then I had final one. Sorry, uh, really a debutant, but Werner. Um,
Okay.
he quietly went about his business.
Yeah.
Um, I think with him, one thing that stood out for me was his post-match interview.
Mm.
Talking about he's never come across, uh, you know, such big and strong defenders,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why I'm talking about him. Only because I think we all know he's a top striker,
Yeah.
but I think he's in for a rude awakening how challenging and demanding the Premiership is. You know,
100%.
because there's a lot of ruthlessness that goes on in the league, and for me, he's going to do well. I think he'll get easily 20 goals, both in all competitions. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just good to hear how demanding the Premiership is. But yeah, it was a good performance from him. I think Chelsea. I think I mentioned last time they've got so many players, so it'll take a while for them to gel. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think this season and even next season might be too soon for them. But it's a good
Mm.
sign. The pressure's on Lampard for sure, but yeah, that for me is my roundup of like the first week of football. How would you think it was for
So
you?
I've got another selection of players that stood out for me. So Callum Wilson on his home debut for Newcastle, I think he performed really well. You can tell he's a player that they've lacked last season. Last season they had Yolinton and they had Muto, the Japanese striker as well. And they're not the type
Gale,
of
isn't
strikers to really stretch teams. Sorry?
it? They have Gale as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gale didn't really play that much. I think he was injured quite a few times,
Mhm.
but um, I was quite impressed with just the way he was playing. You can tell that he's going to score lots of goals this season. He was stretching the defense, forming a good partnership with Andy Carroll as well. So I think two of it, all three debutants, Jamal Lewis, Hendricks, and Callum Wilson had a great game. To be fair, especially Hendricks scored a nice goal as well. Um, yeah, so they really impressed me. I think they're trying to sign a few more players this window as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Another player was Zaha, so scoring as well. Chris scored a couple more actually. Um, Bit of a funny one because it's quite obvious that he wants to leave, but for some reason, no club is showing concrete interest right now. So
Mm.
all he can do is keep performing, scoring the goals for the club, and then if a move happens for him, great. If not, he'll have to be professional and keep on going at the same time. So,
Mm.
but yeah, he impressed me. Eze as well, the new signing, he looked good when he came on as well. So I'm quite excited to see more of him this season.
Mm.
And King Mo, Egyptian King, fantastic performance.
Obviously.
Not because of the hat trick, I just loved the way he played. And you can tell that I think it hurt him that he didn't get the golden boot last season as well, because obviously he's been here for 3 seasons and he's won 2 out of 3. So you could tell that he had that kind of ruthlessness in his finishing, and the way he was playing was just like with full of confidence. So I'm excited to see him more this season. I had him in my fantasy team as well, so I got to get 40 points out of that. So
Mm.
really, really pleased about that. Jimenez, I think we've spoken about him so many times during our episodes last year. Fantastic player, scoring goals left, right, and centre. Like I think he deserves a big move to a club, but that remains to be seen. But I think he's such a great striker in the Premier League, and I'm expecting him to score more goals this season. I'll probably predict that he'll score 20 in the league. I
But,
think he's that good.
but why do you think no one's come in for him?
It might be the price tag, because there was interest for Adama Traore as well, and that sort of died down. I think they gave him I think it was an 80 million price tag, and I think the same for Jimenez as well. So, um, Wolves is one of those clubs. I don't feel like it's easy to negotiate with them as well because they're not lacking money as well at the same time. So,
Mm.
and they've got that super agent as well who's getting players from Portugal for them left, right, and centre as well. So they'll never have like short interest in terms of that. But I would like to see him at a bigger club, even if it's outside the Premier. I feel like he should be playing at an elite level as well. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes for him, to be honest. And my final player is Lamptey. So I don't know if you watched the game
Yeah.
with Chelsea. For me, he was phenomenal, and he's a former Chelsea player as well. He was just causing havoc on that right-hand side. I think last season as well, I remember when Brighton played against Liverpool, and I just thought he was a stand-up player. Like, he's definitely one for the future. So it's probably good he left Chelsea, to be honest, because you've got Reece James there, who, by the way, scored an amazing goal yesterday against Brighton. So it's probably good for his development that he's actually playing at a club where he will get regular games as well. So we'll see how he develops as the season goes on. But yeah, it was a great match week, first match week.
Mm.
The Liverpool Leeds game for me was just amazing. Like, obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan, but even if you watched it as a neutral, it was just kind of like nail-biting stuff, like got goals left, right, and centre. Like, it was good sort of like advert for the Premier League as well, especially Leeds coming from the Championship, champions versus champions. And to be fair, they did brilliant. I was really impressed with the way they were playing. I hope they sign more players so they have the depth to continue the way they play, because I feel like that kind of style of football that they play may kind of tire them out as the season goes on. So that's I think that's a lot of questions that people are asking right now. Can they maintain that level of performances as the season goes on? But
Do
that
you think
remains.
you
Yeah.
deserve the win?
Who's that? At Liverpool?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the result was fair, but I think Leeds is fantastic. I think 4-3 was probably just about right because the way they were very clinical. That was the difference. They only had a few chances, and I believe they scored. I think they had 3-4 shots on target, and they scored 3. So Liverpool had numerous chances, but we weren't as clinical. I think if Salah wasn't playing, it might have been a different story, if I'm honest with you. As I can tell, a lot of players were sort of struggling with fitness. Like Firmino wasn't quite there. Wijnaldum had a couple shots, and the team's just not gelling at the minute. Slight concern actually with Joe Gomez, to be fair. He's not been as consistent since the restart. I think it's just, personally, I think it's like a dip in form. I don't think that's a sort of sign in terms of his ability, because I think he's one of the best centre-backs in England in terms of nationality. So hopefully it's just a little blip for him and he continues to improve as the season goes on. But yeah, I think I thoroughly enjoyed the first week, and hopefully this week we have more exciting matches to watch as well. But before we go into that, let's talk some rumours. We've got a few more weeks left in the transfer window. So one news that keeps popping up, and you were talking to me about it off air as well, is Bale to either Manchester United and Spurs. So what sort of insight do you have on that, and what are your thoughts?
Um, to be honest, I just think like Real Madrid and Bale, both camps are just done with that current position now. I think you saw it towards the end of last season. Bale was on the bench playing games, or
Wasn't even on the bench. He was literally in the stands, wasn't
in
he?
the
Like, he
stand.
wasn't
Yeah,
even
so
on the bench. Yeah.
just I wouldn't say acting a fool, but he's just when someone's just not there anymore. He gave up,
I do
isn't it?
remember. I do remember seeing footage of him using his mask to cover his eyes and have a little nap.
That says it all, isn't it? Can
Yeah,
you really imagine Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex Ferguson
yeah,
seeing this type of nonsense
yeah.
and allowing that player to stay there? And this is where I think like football has changed a lot
You're right. Yeah,
because even basic things like mannerisms, the way you behave, because you're setting an example not just for
yeah,
those near to you, but the young talent coming up as well. And
mm,
anyway, back to my point, I think Bale needs to play football. He can't just rest on money and
yeah,
think, that's enough. Like he's that type of player. He's still world class, when he's not injured
100%.
and all of that. And yeah, both United and Tottenham are linked to him a loan deal, I believe.
Okay.
Um, Ours is on the premise that if we don't get Sancho, Bale would be a good alternative. Yes, but I'd rather not. Me personally, I wouldn't even want Bale at this moment
Wow. Okay.
because injuries, like let's not beat around the bush. He gets injured a lot,
Mm,
and his wages are quite high. And I think for me, like we should be doing everything in our power to be getting Sancho.
yeah.
Whether that happens, that's another question. But you always hear about the transfer of Sancho's coming to do that, and the stumbling block is just the fee. Like
Mm,
you bought one player, let's not make out like United doesn't have money. If anything, we probably are like one of the we have the luxury of being able to buy majority of the players in the world.
yeah.
So the board needs to stop doing this whole, let's be tight and try and get a deal out of this. Da, 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 da. But as of like the last 2 hours, it appears that Bale is edging closer to a return to Tottenham, which I think will
Okay.
be actually really good. It's like one of
Yeah.
those fairy tale moves, started off at Tottenham, got the
Yeah.
success, coming back to his not home club, but coming back to where he made it. So I think that'll be a good matchup for them. Let's see. I mean, there's also that left back, Real Madrid left back for Guilon.
We'll agree on. Yeah.
Again, United's linked to him, so are Tottenham, but it appears that Tottenham are in advanced stages with that deal. Um,
Yeah.
no confirmation yet, but yeah, I mean, if anything, I'll be not annoyed, but I'll be disappointed if that one doesn't happen. Not that we need him, but it's good cover because you've seen that.
Who's that? Regolan? You don't think you need him?
I do think he'll be a good
Yeah.
addition.
I think you guys definitely need a left back.
Like we've
'Cause
got
even
left
watching.
back,
But he's
but
very attack minded as well. So he's someone that you'll probably need in that team as well, especially with the number of central midfielders you have as well. It'll just give that different dimension to the team. Um,
yeah,
I think you guys should go for Bell. If I'm honest with you, um, if it's a thing where if you can't get Sancho this year, try and get him next year. But at least you can get a player on loan
yeah,
where there's no obligation to buy as well at the same time.
yeah,
So you still have the strength in depth to kind of challenge for major honors this year as well. But
yeah,
I think Tottenham would be the kind of like the right kind of move for him as well. It's a place that he's familiar with. Um, he'll get regular games as well.
yeah.
Obviously, his wages I think have been um,
Um,
yeah, a big obstacle. I would say, but I don't really blame him to be honest with you because he was on the verge of a move last year to China, if you remember.
yeah,
It's just the management. I think Zidane, in terms of at Real Madrid, sort of blocked the move, but then still kept him in the team. Whereas you can tell his morale's quite low, and he's not really challenging for the team, and he doesn't seem fussed. Like he's more concerned about playing golf than anything else, to be honest with you. So
that's his first
uh,
love, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. So it's golf before Madrid, as he said in the banner. So um, yeah, I think that's poor management on their part. They should have just sold the player because it's been a year since that move collapsed, and you kind of lose the value of the players well at the same time.
Mm.
But that's on them in terms of their way of doing business. But yeah, it'll be nice to see him back in the Premier League. To be fair, another player that has been recently linked with City, it's not Koulibaly because he's forever linked with everyone right nowadays. To be fair, is Gimenez from Atletico, but the fee is reported, I think, 84 million. which is quite
So,
high. What
interesting.
do you think about that?
Um, I don't know. Like recently, like Man City haven't got a good track record of buying essential defenders who have got class to them before they come to Man City. So imagine you've got the Porter, he flops. You know, there's been
It
others.
was a good signing, do you not think?
Well, sorry, apologies. I'm not saying he's flopped, but he hasn't. I don't think he's done what's been expected.
I think that's more to his injury record, to be fair. He's been injured
Yeah,
so much. But I think whenever he's played, he's definitely been a star performer. But I would say whoever partners him is not quite to that level. They've had Otamendi in the squad. They've had to use Fernandinho as a makeshift centre back. So when you have to use a player in that sort of makeshift position, it kind of shows that the other centre backs aren't really valued in the club.
mm.
Um, but yeah, so do you think it'll be a good fit? I think it'll be a good fit, at the
Jimenez,
club.
Jimenez, sorry.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good fit. Koulibaly as well, but the thing is, I don't think he'll leave. That's just a personal kind of gut feeling I have. I don't think he'll leave Napoli, to be honest
Why?
with you. He's loved there. They love him over there. I don't think he has any reason to leave Napoli. Obviously, if there's like a good deal for him in terms of financially, then he might jump to that. I think if he will move, it'll probably be now because I believe he's 30 now as well. So it comes to a stage where you wouldn't want to move clubs further down. But then again, you've got Thiago who's 36 and he's just joined Chelsea right now as well. But
Yeah, but I think he also knows that's the fag end of his career, isn't it? And
yeah,
it's one of those ones where he was lucky to secure a big club.
yeah, nice little pension for him, isn't it?
Yeah, London lifestyle. So
Yeah,
why not? You know,
exactly. Another player who's not, I think, well known in terms of probably the Premier League, but there's a player called DePaul from Udinese, Argentinian striker. He's linked with Leeds at this stage, so I think that's the kind of signing they would need, especially in sort of like what we saw over the weekend. They probably lacked that striker with a killer instinct. You do have Bamford in the team, but he's always been one of those players where he needs about a number of chances before he scores. But he's a hard-working striker.
yeah.
But I feel like in this league, you need someone with that killer instinct. So yeah, I think he'd be a great sign. I'm not sure if you've seen much of him, Sid, but I've seen a few matches of him. I think last season in Serie A, he definitely has that sort of like that kind of spark about him as well. Can play as a number 10, can play as a number 9 as well. So interesting time for Lee. Leeds are, building a squad right now as well, which is nice to see as well. So we'll see how that goes for him.
Mm.
Another player is Rashika. He's a Kosovan winger, plays for Werder Bremen.
Mm.
Um, he's linked with Aston Villa, so he's linked with a 18 million move.
80.
18. But
So
they were hard, they weren't
I
you?
was like, come on, I don't even know who the kid is, but 80 million, wow.
Yeah, I've seen. I think I watched him when Bundesliga was the only football around at the time as well. I watched a few matches on BT Sport as well. He's definitely a sort of like a nippy winger. Can play either wing and scores a lot of goals, especially from like outside the box. He was a player linked with Liverpool actually, so he was someone that
Mm.
I was thinking maybe could join as well.
Yeah,
Especially as he had a clause where if his team survived in the Bundesliga, if they got relegated, the fee would be like 10 million.
oh,
But now I think it's like 18 or 20 million now.
that's not bad though.
Um, but yeah, let's talk about match week 2.
Mm.
Uh, the big game for me, and not to sound biased, is Chelsea
Mhm.
versus Liverpool. I think that's a big, big game this week. It will probably show where Chelsea are at this stage
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
Um, so what are your thoughts on the match, and how do you think it'll go?
I think this is quite a good one so early on in the season.
Yeah.
And I think it will give you a good indication of where Liverpool in particular are at. I'll be honest, like Liverpool didn't look great last game,
Yeah.
and I think in terms of they managed to wrap up the season quite early after the restart,
Okay.
and not even having a dig, but they wasn't in Europe or anything. So, they had a lot more rest than other teams.
Mm.
So I was expecting them to, hit the ground running and all of that. But like you said, players aren't gelling, it might be a dip of form for some of their players. But Chelsea, I want them to do well, but I just can't see it this season. But funny enough, I can see this game being a score draw, so maybe like a 2-2.
Okay.
Your defense doesn't look great at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, the firepower is there. That goes without saying. That's been there for years, isn't it? But um, back in the last season, maybe this start of this season, then it's just one game. But yeah, I wasn't really convinced. So yeah, I think 2-2, a bit, controversial for
2-2.
you. I know you won't agree with that, but what's your shout? Don't be like 5-1 or 6-1 or something like that. Don't need
Well,
to
I'm
hear
used to
that.
those kind of score lines, to be honest with you. But um, yes, chicken. Personally, if I was Klopp, I'd probably bring back Matip into the team.
You what?
Um, yeah, I'd bring back Matip in place of Gomez.
Mm,
Uh, he, in terms of the way he plays, he has a bit more sort of calmness throughout the team. Uh, I think the weaknesses that we had against Leeds was the shape of our defense. Like Gomez would be out of position, and Trent wasn't really following the line of the defense. And in terms of we played sort of like an offside track as well, and then I think it was a bit easier to run through the team in terms of how Leeds attacked. So I think Matip, before he got injured towards the end of the last season, he was one of our best players, if I'm honest with you. And in the campaign when we won the Champions League the previous season as well. So,
mm,
uh, yeah, very reliable defender. So I'd probably play him in this fixture. Keita for me as well. I'd probably add him into the team. He had a good performance last week. He's been great in pre-season as well. So I hope he sort of continues his form there.
yeah.
I think Chelsea, it's going to take time for those players to gel. Even against Brighton, for me, they're still not quite there. Obviously, it's the first game, so you have to be realistic as well. But it's not going to click the way people are assuming right now.
No way.
And I would love to beat Chelsea this week. I think Lampard's acting a bit, I don't know how to describe him to you. He's just a bit too big for his boots at the minute. That's the best way to say right now.
Really?
He sees himself as an elite manager, but he hasn't done nothing.
But why do you
You're
think
a
he
top.
sees himself as him?
He made a comment about Klopp the other day as well, like in terms of spending money. And it's one of those things where I don't think Klopp was highlighting Chelsea's finances in that way. He's kind of just explaining to our fans, because our fans at this stage are quite unrest in terms of the transfer dealings. That we've only signed one player. So I think he's trying to explain in terms of, teams can spend that kind of money. But the way Liverpool structure is right now is we've made a 100 million loss since COVID. So you can't just buy a player just like that, just for the sake of it as well. A lot of teams that are buying players right now,
Yeah.
they're getting investments from other sources right now. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone's been affected. So it's not a thing where Liverpool are being stingy or whatnot. It's just the way it is right now. We have to be smart in terms of how we spend our money. And I think what's his name, Frank Lampard, took that the wrong way, and he was like, "Oh, Liverpool should have a look at how many players they bought for this price and all that." But the thing is, we don't buy £50 million every transfer window. In the last 4 windows, we spent 23 million.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we haven't signed anyone. We signed Minamino in Jan. 4 transfer windows. Think about who have we signed.
So where did Keita, whatever his name is, Keita?
Keita was signed about 2 years ago, because remember we were going on pre-contract. So
Mm.
that was the same summer that we bought Fabinho, we bought Alisson. Van Dijk was signed the January a few months before. But after that window, we haven't signed that many players. And Shaqiri as well was part of that transfer. So we haven't recruited that much since.
Yeah, but then that's not to say that you don't do these things. I think
No, but
it's
for us, it was kind of like, this is how I'm looking. For me, we had weak areas in our team. We've never had a good goalkeeper since Peperena. So obviously, but we had Mignolet at the time, and I'll probably express a lot of
World class.
frustration. Sorry?
He's world class. Mate.
Yeah, we have a bubble now. Uh, uh, we always lacked a leader and a central defender as well, which we covered in Van Dijk. So we got Alisson, then we got Van Dijk, and we didn't have a traditional number 6 or defensive midfielder. So that's why we got Fabinho. But other areas, Mane and Salah were not big moves, if that makes sense. Like they were 30 million, 35 million each. So I wouldn't regard them as big deals in that way. Obviously, the way they performed, it's amazing. Like 30 million nowadays, you can get any player right now. It's not really regarded as a high fee, especially since the Neymar transfer. I feel like that just messed up the whole transfer market, to be fair. So yeah, we haven't really spent that kind of big. That's only 3 players that can be. Robertson was practically a free transfer because we bought him for 8 million, and then the following week we sold one of our youth players to Hull for 8 million. So that's a free transfer. That's how I looked at it. Keita was a big buy, so that's why I think he's got a lot of high expectations right now. But I'm confident he'll do well this year. But yeah, back to the game. I think my predictions would be 3-1.
Yeah?
Yeah, 3-1. Listen, if I'm right, you don't have to swallow your words, mate. So we'll see.
No, it's. I just, I don't know. Maybe I just don't. Again, put my love for Liverpool to one side. Yeah, I just don't see you strong enough this season, and I think like you should have bought. You should be buying players. You can't be reliant on this squad again
No,
because
but what's wrong with the squad? The squad won us the league.
yeah, exactly. That squad won you the league, but everyone else around you is buying players and improving.
Yeah,
Yeah, just sort
agreed.
of saying like even when the Uniteds and all of that won leagues. Yeah, I'm not saying they bought 5, 6 players,
Yeah.
but they invested where possible and where needed. I'm not saying you need like 6 players. We all know your squad is still up there, but say an injury to Henderson or to Salah, that's problems for you.
100%. No, you're right. You're spot on. To be fair, this is something I've voiced previously as well. We need to add a lot of players, and it's not where we're doing like a shopping spree the way Chelsea did, like just buy any top player just for the sake of it. We've got gaps in the squad that need to be filled. For me, that's 3 positions. That's a centre back because we sold Dejan Lovren. Thiago, for me, it's either Thiago or nothing, and a wide forward. I'm still, I wouldn't say confident, but I still believe we will sign some players. I think at least 2 will come in. In terms of what positions there remains to be seen, as there's always rumours that Fabinho will be our 4th centre back as an emergency cover. For me, that's not enough. We need to have a solid defender to be that 4th choice. Thiago, I'm just praying Thiago comes, but I don't know. Even he was linked with United the other day. There were reports saying that he's agreed terms, and then yesterday, like, nope, there's no talks whatsoever. So no, he's not coming. So don't worry. Stick to trying to get Bale and Regulon and whoever you want to get. So yeah, that's how I feel about the Sancho deal as well. Oh my God, it's just like, mate, you're not getting it. Let's be real. Just flirting with him for no reason now, just go and get Bale, get even better, get Brooks from Bournemouth,
Yeah.
Another Daniel James in the team. But
exactly. World class.
Yeah, world class. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know in terms of transfer dealings. Like it's such a difficult time right now. You can't really expect much. I'm being a bit level-headed about it, but I've been over Twitter and people are having all sorts of meltdowns at the minute. But yeah, so that's my prediction for this week. Were there any other fixtures that you thought might be interesting?
Not interesting, but this is obviously United's first game of the season against Crystal Palace. So I should be confident, but I just don't think we've done enough in the transfer window. And, it depends how he sets us up, but I think it would be a draw.
Okay.
Probably like a 1-1. If we can nick it, great, but I'm not confident with us going forward and also containing Zaha, that's going to be an issue. Like, I don't care what
Well,
anyone
you got
says.
Wan-Bissaka, who knows him really well, so that's a slight advantage there.
Yeah, but I still think that's not good. Yeah, of course that helps, but I still think, it's still a big worry for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, first game, hopefully our confidence is there. If we can win, great, but if not, yeah, I'll accept a draw because Crystal Palace isn't an easy club anymore, I don't think.
No.
So
Like
yeah.
it's at home. You've got a slight. Well, there's no crowd there, but you've got
Yeah.
you've got a slight advantage, as in it's your pitch, and it's familiar surroundings as well. So
Let's see.
it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, thank you for listening and watching, guys. So that wraps us up for today. Stay tuned for hopefully more episodes as the season goes on, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
All right, cheers, guys. Thank you.